Hi everyone, Dustin Kirby from Foundational Facility Management Consulting today. And today I wanted to talk to you about something that I'm passionate about, and that's vendor management. I think this is an area of facility management that is ignored way too often. A lot of people get comfortable with the vendors they're using and they stop managing those vendors. Or, you know what, they might take over for someone else that already has vendors in place, and they just say, hey, it's been working, and they just go with it. They might not even know what's expected of the vendors on the contract. They just keep paying the money out and assuming that things are being done correctly. And that's a big mistake. It's a mistake for you, and in the long run, it hurts your vendors as well. Let me explain why. So a vendor management system is designed to make sure that everyone is on the same page and that you have a good, healthy relationship for both sides. You want to know that you have relayed your expectations properly to your vendors, and they should know what your expectations are. Obviously, they can't meet those expectations if they're not communicated correctly. So a couple things that I make sure I do is I have quarterly or at least biannual meetings with my vendors. I also have a vendor rating system that I make sure I do every year, and then I meet with my vendors individually to go over those ratings. For example, I like to use a simple scale like 1 to 5, with 5 being the best, and I'll grade them in different areas. But at the end of the year, based on projects that they've done, based on maybe they've got a contract with me where maybe they're the janitorial vendor. Maybe it's your HVAC vendor that monthly or quarterly comes in and changes your belts, lubes the equipment, and changes your filters. I want to make sure that I'm giving them all a rating, and not just selfishly where, hey, I'm looking to push back and say that they're doing something wrong. It's not like that at all. And a lot of times I think churches feel like, hey, the only way that we can be nice is by not saying anything, and we're just going to take whatever results that we get because Cousin Joe has had a family member that's went to the church for 30 years and we don't want to cause any issues. That's not Christian-like. No, don't get confused like that. What you want to make sure you're doing is being a good steward for yourself and for your vendors. Because if they don't know how they're doing, how can they improve, right? Because what I've seen happen time and time again is, you know what? People let the vendors go, and maybe stuff is getting worse, but they turn their head and try to ignore it, hope it gets better. It continues to get worse over time. And eventually, they or whoever succeeds them are left with no choice but to cancel the contract for that vendor and replace them. You know what? They thought at the beginning they were being kind by not saying anything, but in reality, what ended up happening is that vendor lost their contract because they weren't getting any feedback. They didn't know that their technicians were maybe showing up and not doing the job that was in the contract. How were they to know? You never said anything. They just thought that everything was going great. But in fact, you have seen over time, hey, they're not signing the check-in book. I don't even know that they really came here each month. They're not writing the date that they changed the filters on the filters. So how do I really know that they were changed each month? They're not letting me know that I need to order more filters. Or, you know what? I didn't even know that the janitorial team was here last night. They missed a couple of bathrooms, but you know what? I didn't want to say anything. That's not fair to you, and it's not fair to the vendor. If they can see, hey, if you develop a good business relationship with them, where you can say, oh, hey, the next day, I see that a couple of our restrooms look like they were missed. Can you come back in and clean those up before we have our event tonight? Chances are that vendor is so happy that you've nicely reached out to them that they're going to be more than happy to send someone in there and make sure that's taken care of. And then when they see that that was missed, they're going to pay even extra attention to that in the future to try to prevent that from happening again. And you should be doing a check on your vendors. That is not only your right, that's your responsibility. As a facility manager or the business manager or whoever hired them, you want to make sure you're doing that. What I like to do, for example, with janitorial vendors, is I have a very simple checklist that allows me to check different areas, and you're going to quickly have an idea of how your janitorial vendor is doing. You don't want to go every time they're in there and check every single thing, or you're almost taking as much time as it took them to clean the place. That's not what you're looking for. You're looking for a simple checklist that shows you important areas and some discrete areas that you can quickly go through and identify if the areas are being attended to. As I had said before, you can do something similar with your HVAC contractor. Are they signing in and signing out when they come in your building? They should. You should know who is in your building, and you should be able to look back and see and be able to verify that yes, every month, if you've got a monthly contract, you can see that every month that contractor was on site. You might not know exactly what they did, but you can see they were on site. Go ahead and check. Maybe it's monthly, maybe it's quarterly. Go ahead and check and see your filters that are in your HVAC system. Did they write the date on there that it was replaced? They should be doing that for you. You should be able to go to any of your air handlers and see, okay, this filter was replaced in, let's say, September of 2025. They might have written 9/26/25. You know it was replaced September 26th of 2025. That, if they're not doing that, you should be asking them to do that. That allows you to always make sure that new filters are going in there, and you can see the last time it was done. It holds you both accountable. So those are just some things. I also do it for, like I said, vendors or contractors, depending on what you want to call them, that maybe they are your cleaning supply company. Maybe it's a roofing contractor that you're trying out, or a parking lot paving company. You want to make sure, even after projects, even after one-time projects, that you do a vendor rating system. Like I had said, I use a vendor rating sheet. So even those contractors that I've only used once that year, I know after the project, not at the end of the year when it might have happened 5 months before and I can't remember the details. At the end of the project, I'm going to fill that sheet out with the notes, and I'm going to provide that to that contractor. I want to also file that in my system, whether it's digital or paper, so that when I look back, the next time I want the roof replaced, you know what? I can look back and see, hey, this contractor did a great job. Maybe they cost more than I expected, but maybe they provided more value. Or on the other hand, hey, I went with the low bidder here, and we've had many issues. We've continued to have leaks. I've called them back multiple times. They've shown up a couple times, but not the last couple of times. And I continue to have issues. Well, that's telling me right then, I don't want to continue to use that contractor. I might have thought I was saving money on the front end by going with the lowest bidder, but because I actually kept detailed notes and filled out my vendor rating chart, I actually see, no, this in fact did not save me money. It looked like it, but it actually ended up costing me time later. It cost opportunity lost because, you know what? It ended up leaking on our big Christmas Eve service, and we had a lot of new people in there, and it was disappointing because some people got wet and we lost some seating. Obviously, I'm just giving an example there, and hopefully it would not be that drastic, but you want to be keeping track of the ratings of your vendors and your contractors. So I just really am passionate about that. I want you to have whatever works for you, as as we do at Foundational Facility Management Consulting. We have a great pillar, we call it. It's a package for vendor management, and I just really think we all need to hold our vendors and our contractors to the contract. In the long term, this is honestly the kinder way for both parties. It's fair, and they know what your expectations are, and they're human just like you're human. There will be some mistakes. Give some grace, give them an opportunity to improve. But if you consistently see that they're not living up to the terms of the contract, that's an issue, and you should replace them and you should move forward. So I just wanted to talk to you about that today, and hopefully before the end of this year, you can get your vendor management system in place and be able to send something out at the end of the year so you can start the new year fresh. And even if you've been there for a while and you feel like, hey, this is going to be a little weird because my contractors or my vendors have never had me ask for them to have quarterly or biannual meetings, that's okay. Make sure that you go make that ask. Make sure that you've got contact information and that you've got a backup contact at each one of these vendors or contractors. You shouldn't have no one to contact if that person's on vacation or that person's sick. You're doing business with a company, not with just that individual. So make sure you have that. What I also like to do in cases where I can is I have an A and a B vendor. I give my A vendor like 80% of the work, whatever it might be, and I give my B vendor 20% of the work. The reason I do this is it makes everyone up their game. If you see, for example, maybe I'll just use janitorial. I might have a contractor that's doing my daily cleaning, and that might be my A contractor. They're getting 80% of the work. And then I might have my B contractor do quarterly, or maybe it's only annual cleaning, or maybe they just do the windows, or they do something small, like I said, that annual or spring cleaning where they come in and touch every area. That makes both parties want to really perform their best. And it gives you some leverage where if one of the two vendors, the A or the B vendor, are not performing up to standards, it allows you to replace them with still having a janitorial team in place. So maybe temporarily, if you had to replace your A vendor, you talk to your B vendor and say, hey, either they're becoming your A vendor, or you might be asking them, hey, I got to lean on you and I need you to do the daily cleaning for the next couple of months while you search out a new contractor. So you want to make sure that both the A and the B can do the full thing for temporary situations like that. But having those two really ups the game for both parties. It really helps that both your vendors will push each other and give you a better product in the end. It also allows you to make decisions promptly because you've got a backup in place. So that's another little suggestion that I have, but try and get your vendor management system in place, and I wish you all the success.